Hey there, it's your boy Foxy, back for more relationship stories. Am I wrong for helping my brother run away from his wedding? Long plus last update. Original post. I have two older brothers, and this is about the middle one. Our parents divorced when I was very young due to our mother's insane jealousy. At first my dad was able to handle it, but when she started making comments about me wanting to be like his wife, he had enough. She quickly rebounded with a guy with two kids and had shared custody for a while. But when my dad got remarried, she went crazy, calling his new wife every horrible name and claiming he was cheating on her while they were married. I was always closer to my brothers and dad than my mom because she was always very mean to me. Long story short, my stepmom died in a bad car accident, and my dad called her in the middle of the night letting her know he would pick us up earlier so we could attend the funeral, and she decided to take us on a fun trip to celebrate something. It was the happiest we've ever seen her, and when we realized what happened and started crying, she told us only worthless people cry for loose women. Needless to say, things went nuclear, and my dad asked for full custody with visitation for her. He always left the line of communication open and paid for us to visit her when she moved away, but it was still very bad, and as soon as we turned 18, we started to lower contact with her. Last time we saw her was on my high school graduation, where she made a point of letting everyone who would hear that we were ungrateful kids, and her husband would call us bad names too. Been no contact since then. My brother Sam started dating his ex 3 years ago. She has heard all the stories and the reasons we are no contact, but she believes we are just dramatic. They had many issues due to her opinions, but she eventually seemed to drop the "you need to reconcile with your mother" crusade. During the wedding planning, there was no indication of things going wrong or fishy. Then we got to the church, and lo and behold, Mom, her husband, and two kids were sitting at front. I immediately panicked and called my brothers. Sam thought maybe somehow she found out and wanted to crash, so he called his ex to let her know of the potential drama, but she told him it was fine since she invited them. Sam hung up and asked me to go get him while oldest brother dealt with things at the church. We went home and barricaded ourselves there, even when his ex, her family, friends, and other came to try and make sense with him. Mom's husband even called and said he always knew we were worthless. Now that the dust has settled, most of Sam's friends are on his side, and so is most of our family from Dad's side. Ex's parents already threatened to sue for the money they paid if he doesn't marry her, but Sam says he'd rather pay them back for their contribution than marry someone who betrayed him. My nuclear family 100% supports Sam, but the backlash has been huge. Edit, you guys just reassured us all, thank you. Some have commented about it, but no, she has not apologized. She even went so far as to text my oldest brother Joe that she thought it would be a good wedding present from my brother to her, since she values family. My dad bought them a house as a wedding present, but only Sam is on the deed. She did have keys for when they moved there, but they just had the locks changed today, and Joe and some cousins are taking everything Sam owns from her flat during this week. We aren't worried about being sued, but we'll consult a lawyer just in case. We also heard Mom and her family are still in town, but since we are all staying at our childhood home for a few days, we don't care. My dad is sad that Sam is heartbroken, but is trying to cheer him up along with my boyfriend and my sister-in-law. I had to delete/deactivate my social media because I kept getting nasty comments and messages. But the more people learn the reason Sam ran away, the less it gets. I am still sorry she felt humiliated, but my brother comes first. Also, we are 34, 32, and 28. Ex-sister-in-law is 30, not in the US. I asked Joe about the church aftermath, and it was just as I expected it. He says he stood up in front of everybody and told them Sam was not coming, and to please go home and all their gifts delivered to our side of the family will be given back as soon as possible. The ex was still outside the church when someone in her family informed her, and she started screaming and crying and calling Sam nonstop. Mom tried to talk to Joe, who didn't even look at her, and when she couldn't get a reaction out of him, she started crying loudly and lamenting how horrible we are to her, and some people started consoling her. This is her MO, but Joe and his wife didn't care. When they went out of the church, the ex was expecting them and demanding to see Sam, but Joe said no. Then she demanded to know what to do with the party, and he said if she didn't want the venue, he would arrange for the food to be donated to the staff there so it wouldn't go to waste. Everybody was screaming, except Joe, because he didn't want to give Mom the satisfaction. Joe and sister-in-law came home after stopping at the supermarket and some fast food joints, and we have been inside like we are kids again, plus 2 more members. We asked Sam if he wanted them to go, but he said he wanted them there. We had all taken time off to spend family time after the wedding anyway, so it's not a problem at the moment. When the ex came to the gate, we knew she was not going to use the venue, so my sister-in-law called them with Sam's info, told them to take the food, and also sent them some tips for their trouble. It seems we will get back all the alcohol that my dad paid for, so we will have a very drunk end of the year. A couple of people messaged me asking why did our dad ever marry our mom, and the answer is, he really loved her and believed she was the nicest person ever. Turns out she wasn't, but she knew nobody, except I guess her nasty husband, would marry her unless she pretended to be nice. He considered staying with her until we were adults, but she kept getting worse. She used to get very nice and he thought she was changing, and then she would flip again. As per my ex-sister-in-law, we have no doubt that she believes mom is a nice person that has ungrateful children because she is extremely charming. And for some people it's funny to make fun of others as long as it's not directed at them, but it still doesn't excuse the ex. The only person Sam gave an explanation to was his boss who was at the church, but he is very understanding and was pretty shocked of what mom put us through since we are fairly adjusted happy people. Our dad said that it was a shock for all of us, and we can stay home as long as we need, while Sam is moving home for the time being. I showed my family the post and they are moved by your niceness, but Sam wants you all to know that X wasn't showing any concerning behaviors, and he truly believed she understood his upbringing. He agreed to talk to her and her parents today, but only if it's at our home and we are there to support him, so it's going to be an interesting visit. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Not wrong. Your brother escaped marrying someone who is controlling and would not listen and respect his feelings. She instead went behind his back to invite the one person who traumatized you all. She did this because she knew better. He is lucky to have escaped a life of that. As for paying for the wedding, the bride is the one that made the situation unworkable, so brothers should not have to pay anything. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. If my fiancé doesn't talk to or associate with someone, then I assume he has a damn good reason not to, and that person has no reason to interact with me. We're a team. If someone disrespects or hurts my teammate, I have no use for them. Sam's fiancé disrespected him to the nth degree. Good for him for not falling for that. Exactly. I don't understand how anyone can think their partner is a poor judge of character. Like, this is the person that has chosen you, out of everyone else in the world, to spend the rest of their life with. If they're a poor judge of character, what does that say about you? Shaking my head. The lack of self-awareness is astounding sometimes. Some people that grew up in happy homes can't imagine anything else. They truly believe the whole fairytale family thing, so they insert themselves as the hero who brings the family back together after a misunderstanding. It's super dangerous for anyone who survived a harmful family. Edit, I specifically said some people, because I am well aware that not everyone from a happy home doesn't understand ill treatment. Not wrong, he needs to run from her. Also, her parents can't sue him for dumping her and running from the church, can they? You did the right thing, and so did he. In some states they can sue for the stuff they bought that can't be refunded, but it wouldn't go anywhere because X has unclean hands. Her behavior is the sole reason the wedding didn't happen as planned, and OP's brother could sue her right back for emotional distress. Now for the first update. First, some extra info. Sam lost some money, but it's not going to hurt him. Her parents paid for her dress, a very fancy cake, and part of the honeymoon. X wasn't the most beloved in-law, but we truly believed she loved Sam. We have no contact with mom's side. Joe used to have some with grandma, but after his wedding and another crap show avoided, he cut her off too. Mom's comments about me wanting to be the wife came from her belief that it was not right for us to have daddy-daughter days or outings. The thing is, there are also Daddy Joe days and Daddy Sam days. He always tried to spend time with us alone and as a group. She is just sick. We don't advertise our childhood, so when people ask us about our parents, the standard answer is just my dad, or it's just my siblings and my dad. Most people assume mom is deceased, and it helps avoid the whole inquiry about not talking to her. Mom's stepkids are both male and in their early 30s. Dad has a long-term girlfriend and we like her a lot. She has been doing her own stuff these past few days, but she says we have her full support. Now the update. I was wondering why Sam accepted the meeting after not even talking to her, but turns out she sent videos and photos of all his things on the floor to his best friend Tom, and told him that Sam either talked to her or she would burn and destroy it all. Tom came to visit Sam, told him what happened, and they informed her they need access to the flat before anything happens. Tom, Joe, a couple of cousins, and my boyfriend went and took his clothes, electronics, important paperwork. Sam said he didn't care about the rest, and even made a little joke about them being the fastest moving crew he knew. The meeting was, for lack of a better word, a ridiculous event. She came with her parents and sisters, tried to talk to Sam alone, but when he didn't allow it, she just started talking. Not once did she apologize. She said it's not her fault we don't understand the value of a real family, and that we were raised to hate mothers. That her only intention was for Sam to learn to value mothers, because she was scared he would take her children away from her, because that is what he was taught to do. Sam didn't say anything until she threw "this family is like a cult and you are a terrible father" while looking at my dad. As you may imagine, this is a sore spot for all of us, and we don't allow insults towards our dad under any circumstance. Sam just unloaded about how she was a hateful liar. He was disgusted he ever touched even her hand. That he was grateful to the universe that I am chronically early to everything. He told her staying with a cheating husband as her mom does is nothing to be proud about. He said she pretended to be nice just so he would marry her. Unloaded all the minor things that he was willing to overlook because he truly did love her, or at least who he thought she was. He said he would never forgive her for the hurt she caused his siblings, but he doesn't hate her because that would require him to spend energy thinking about her, and she doesn't get that. At the end he said she had enough time to clear things, and since she has acted like a victim, he will be the one to let everybody know why he didn't show. It was brutal but cathartic and necessary for Sam. Her parents said nothing but were very red. She was crying. Her sisters attempted to defend her and their parents' relationship, and were kind of expecting my whole family to argue too, but we didn't. Then Sam told his ex-father-in-law that he could sue if he wanted, but if he did, Sam would expose all his family's dirty laundry to the world, and he doubts he wants that. Amazingly, the dad still argued Sam could try and make amends and marry his ex, because they are not getting any younger, and all families fight. I've never rolled my eyes harder. The rest of the meeting went on about logistics for the return of the wedding gifts already received, stopping the harassment from their family, the cancellation and refund of the honeymoon, the changing of the locks. X just kept crying and trying to talk to Sam, but he was in business mode and didn't want anything from her. He only replied to her directly when she said she was keeping her engagement ring with. Nobody asked for it. They left without issues. When the booze was delivered, Mom and her husband sneaked through the gate when we opened it. She said she just wanted to talk to her babies, and my dad asked her to leave. She kept screaming that he raised us wrong, and we just embarrassed her with our behavior. That she couldn't believe we were such bad people, and we should start making amends with her because we clearly lack maternal love. She got that right, and that this was the pathetic result. At that point, Joe went out and told her to leave since the police were on their way. She took it as an opportunity to cry since it's the first time in about a decade he talked to her, and tried to sweet-talk him into going to grab dinner with her and her husband. But Joe just told her to leave, and that the only news he ever wanted to hear related to her were the ones about her funeral so he could go celebrate. Cue hysterical crying and screaming from the husband demanding an apology and threatening to hit Joe. Dad and Joe went back inside and left them there until we saw they left and closed the gate. It is hard for some people to understand why we react like we do, but the things I wrote about our mother are just like the tip of the iceberg. Dad wasn't exactly proud of what Joe said, but he understood he needed to let it out, and he was speaking for all of us. Maybe that makes us bad people, but we truly don't want to see this woman ever again. We are all going to have some family therapy besides our individual ones. Sam doesn't want the house anymore, but my dad says to take it slow, and that the first step is to mend his heart. We have had horror movies marathons and some Disney classics sprinkled here and there. We also had a drama bingo thing going on, of all the things that could possibly happen, because I guess we are truly dramatic after all. We love each other and we're raised to treat people well, but we can be petty when pushed. I also feel better knowing she humiliated herself, and while I wouldn't wish to be left at the church on anybody, I would do it again. Because I love my brother more than I feel bad for her. We will be going on a family trip eventually, but right now we will continue our staycation. To the person that said Joe is a hero, his siblings couldn't ask for a better brother and friend. We've read everything so far. Thank you for letting me vent. The PMs, I am sorry if my English was not up to the standards. Joe and Sam names are obviously fake. But, Daniela, go F yourself. Little note, my brothers are reading your messages and comments, and they want you to know we know how lucky we are. They appreciate the positivity, want you to know it gets better for those in the same boat, and you are all welcome to our cult. Thanks for the update. The way you guys dealt with the situation is perfect. There is no need to spend your time and energy with toxic people. The best revenge is to just cut them off and live a good life. We will try our best. There is mention of a cool trip for the holidays, but at the moment we are considering a party to use the booze, but are debating how sensible that would be. Was that as good for you as it was for me? It was. Sam might be heartbroken, but he would never go back with her, not even if she had apologized. Just to be clear, definitely not excited about your brother's heartbreak, but I was sufficiently satisfied that these people were kicked to the curb. And if there is a silver lining for Sam and the rest of your family, is that he got rid of this scumbag before he was married and or had kids with her. No worries, I am happy he got to say his piece too. My family sucks too. Can I join yours? Sure, hope you like horror movies and singing old Disney tunes. For the second update, first more clarifications. If you want a PM, it's fine. Even if it is to insult us, please know I will only answer in public form. Joe wasn't parentified. To the person who wrote me a mean essay about it, here is the answer. My brothers spent time with me because they wanted to. We had special days together or with each other. They did all the activities they wanted, had many friends, went on trips with me or alone, and so on. There were nannies, family, my dad. They were never forced to take me with them against their will. They had a lot of freedom within reason. My parents divorced when I was 3, and even if there was shared custody, we stayed 90% with Dad, and we never went to visit our mother unless we were in at least pairs. The only times Joe or Sam visited her after turning 18 was when I was requested to visit, because they didn't want me to go alone. We have all been in therapy for a very long time. We are just having special sessions because we saw our mother, but Joe is the only one that interacted with her. Also, please know that Sam and I know how to defend ourselves and didn't ask Joe to confront her. He did it by himself. Why didn't my dad go to the church with Joe? Because he was asked by Sam to go home. We didn't think he needed to see that woman even if he had to talk to her after. Sam has cried. He is not a monster. He is heartbroken, thought he would spend the rest of his life with Daniela, thought he was a good judge of character, thought he didn't have to see our mother ever again. There are many emotions going on, but because of our upbringing, we are very good at keeping our emotions in check in front of people we don't trust or like. It was a survival skill we developed to deal with how we were treated. Joe had a relationship with Grandma, but stopped talking to her after she invited Mother as her +1. There was no religious ceremony, the venue had security, and there was a no-entry list. He sent Grandma a letter and didn't talk to her again. We also didn't attend her funeral. The wedding was about 250 guests, and when making the wedding list and sitting charts, she used other names, which is how we didn't know about it. Daniela is not Brazilian. My dad requested that I inform you all that his kids are not alcoholics. He is worried people think that, even if this is anonymous. Laughing out loud. Anyway, this week has been really chaotic. Those who said to be prepared for the pregnancy tactic were incredibly accurate. She posted it online. People were freaking out again and calling Sam asking him if it was true. Sam called her and asked that she delete it, but she continued claiming she was pregnant. He asked her to delete it and to come talk about it. She deleted it, met up with Sam, and somehow this crazy woman thought he wanted her back. I went with Sam. She was very happy until she saw me enter the place. She started crying, holding her stomach, and when Sam asked her if she really was pregnant, she said yes and told him she didn't want her child to be from a broken family. Sam told her they were going to the doctor immediately to know for sure, and she cried even more, screaming he didn't trust her. Long story short, she isn't pregnant, but she posted Sam was forcing her to terminate it and that she was devastated. As you may imagine, this was a horrible thing to say. People were calling Sam because they are so whiplashed from the drama they don't know what to believe anymore. When my sister-in-law Anna found out about the posts and the meet, she called Daniela. I am unsure what was said in that conversation, but I also never saw Anna this angry. The posts are down, but Anna wrote an email with all relevant information, including that Daniela was never pregnant, and sent it to everybody in the wedding list. This morning we heard Daniela had a breakdown after leaving voicemails telling Sam that if she couldn't be with him, she wanted to end it. This is another tactic straight out of our mother's playbook, and Sam simply called the police and told them what happened. Her family forced her into therapy and she is in observation right now. It brings us no pleasure that it came to this, but we don't want to get involved anymore. We are also changing our numbers, already requested it. Our mother emailed Anna threatening to sue her for defamation regarding the email blast, but we are not worried about it either. Anna's parents are amazing, and they have made it perfectly clear they are on our side and 100% agree with the way she handled things. Joe was enraged, but Anna convinced him to let it go and simply move on. Mother's husband has been a peach as usual. Dad is considering a restraining order, but they are not great in our country. We did have a get-together at home yesterday and it was a lot of fun. There was karaoke, dancing, nice food and drinks, games, and bouncy house, because why not? We love them. Most people avoided the topic of the wedding and the posts, but those who brought them up did tactfully. Dad had already given away a lot of the alcohol to his employees. They got to choose what they wanted and got a bottle each. He is also adding bottles into his Christmas baskets this year. We are going to spend the holidays together and traveling. I told Sam about the new paint for the house, but he just doesn't want to live there. He will rent it. Then I made a joke about me simply eloping or not having a proper wedding to avoid drama, but Joe told me in no uncertain terms I get the biggest party ever if I choose to. So yeah, he is still the best. Thank you for your nice comments and messages. Not thanking the mean ones. And the interest. Sorry to the nice Daniela's out there, the FU wasn't for you. Now for the comments before reading more updates. Oh my, I just read through this whole roller coaster and just have to say how amazing your core family unit is. I'm so glad you guys have each other and can help each other, particularly Sam. Bounce back from this. Also, couldn't agree more. F Daniela and your mom and her brainwashed partner. Well. So glad you have a family that pull together like this. These updates are so heartwarming after the awful situation you all faced. Big props to you all. And Sam could rent the house and rent somewhere else until he's ready to buy again. Good luck to you all. I know, this roller coaster just keeps going and refuses to simply let them off. This site is very common for people to share their insane drama that they shouldn't have to deal with. But life is a cruel, sick prankster who like to pull asinine jokes on people for whatever reason. Maybe to say, screw you have to put up with these cruel in your life because I said so. Haha. I really don't like living in reality. Believe me, I've dealt with my fair share of horrible crap. Oh man, Anna sounds awesome too. She's kind of my hero after this update. All of you have taken turns being my hero throughout this saga. I also think it's adorable that your dad is worried that a bunch of strangers think his kids are alcoholics. Please assure him that at least one stranger does not. Here's hoping you all continue to heal, and please give an extra hug to Sam for me. It's so hard to separate who you think a person is and who they show themselves to be, but hopefully once some time has passed, this will just become a funny story to look back on, from a happier future. If nothing else, it sounds like it's been a real bonding experience for all of you, and a hell of a tale. Cheers to you all. Now for the third update. Thank you for all your interest. You are very nice and is always a blast logging in and update you on our cult. First, some points. I do read every single comment, message, and whatnot. Some commented that I particularly lacked a feminine figure in my life, but I had my grandma, aunts, and others. My dad's girlfriend Rita is not a mother figure, and I don't feel that I am a bad woman because of it. When I had my period and told my dad, he had a whole thing prepared. Then he informed my brothers, and each had a whole thing prepared themselves. They each had their own approach and the others didn't know about it. Long story short, I had 3 men taking care of it and doing even a presentation about it. It might sound super awkward for me, but was even more awkward for them. It is a hilarious story and reminds me how much they thought about me all the time. Rita is amazing and we love her, but she has no problem not being married to my dad. My dad doesn't want to get married again. But if he did, we would support him. Daniela is okay. Her sisters tried to make a huge drama and accuse us of being horrible, but after the email sent by Anna, nobody is buying it. One of them was also dumped by her boyfriend because he didn't want to be related to a toxic family. I will not disclose where we live or what our dad does for a living, so please don't ask about it again. We have new numbers, new social media handles, and are planning to move, Joe and I. Also, I do have a little note with the fake real names relation, and do type my posts in Word. It's mainly so I don't mess up my ramblings. My dad wants you all to know your applications to the cult have been accepted. Anyway, I checked the last update, and I can't believe it was only in early November. I have mainly good updates for you. Sam is doing well. He is taking time off work. His boss is very understanding about him needing time, and told him he can always come back there. He is still living with dad and has savings, so he is not worried about that aspect. He is running now and has decided to run a marathon next year. He is more and more his goofy self and is doing renovations at home, or in other words, Dad and Sam are trying to paint some rooms and do murals. It is hilarious and they have a lot of fun. Daniela wrote him a letter but he sent it back. The house was put on the market as a rental and he is okay with it. And I am now engaged. It turns out it has been months in the making, and when I made the joke about eloping, my future husband Matt panicked thinking I discovered the plan. He spoke with Sam, who already knew of the plans, because he didn't want to make him uncomfortable, but Sam said it would actually make him uncomfortable if he didn't. He also spoke with Joe and my dad made him sweat when he asked for my hand, saying it was not his to give, but they say it was all in good fun. It happened earlier this month, and I am very excited, but not as much as my dad. He says he wants to walk me down even if it is a civil wedding. While my news are amazing, I believe the other big news around are better. Joe and Anna have been on the adoption list for a while, and as of a couple weeks ago, we have a baby. She is the most beautiful, sweet, best baby ever. The adoption is final, as it usually is in our country for newborn or almost newborn babies. We knew they wanted to adopt for a while, so when they told us about the baby being officially theirs, it was a lot of crying, but happy crying. Dad is in full grandpa mode, and even as bad as some things got this year, this is the best thing that happened to our family is years. Mom did learn about the baby and demanded an introduction. She has been served our version of an order of protection. She is never putting her eyes on her if we can help it. Those are the bad news. Due to the new COVID, we decided to stay home. Now with the new addition, we wouldn't travel, of course. We had a Christmas/welcome baby/baby shower/engagement small gathering last weekend, which Joe and niece didn't attend since she is too young, but they were there via Zoom. We all agreed to give Sam some goof gifts such as t-shirts, mugs, sweatshirts, and so on of Julia Roberts, since you know he is the runaway bride of the family. The reason Joe and I are considering moving is that we live in flats at the moment, and we want to live in houses. We are still shaken up, and we know we have work to do, but we know we have so much, and we want to focus on that because the negative is in the minority. And no matter what happens, I am always grateful for my family. I know the last updates have been mainly drama-free, and might not be as exciting, but we aim for that. Not planning on deleting anything, the account will be here in case something worth updating happens. I wish you all the best end of year and an amazing 2022. Seems like a happy ending to me. And beginnings. I'm glad things turned out so positive in the end. To be honest, your family sounds great, and those related by blood do not need to be considered your family. Have a great year. Yay, happy holidays, and Merry New Year to you and your most excellent family. I would love to hear any future updates you care to share with us, even if they're boring. It's just nice hearing from you and hearing about your awesome cult family. Now for the latest update. Hi cult, I guess we should catch up to whoever still wants to know what is going on with the cult, not to lose the rhythm. First, some points. Due to popular demand, yes, our native language is Spanish. Adoptions are final in our country, done by the government, and we rarely get situations like open adoptions. Joe and Anna had been on waiting for a bit since they decided that is how they wanted to have kids together. I said hubby Moss, as in we have, like when they announced the Pope. We are now 35, 33, and 29. Joe and I moved as we planned last year. The year has been pretty good, just minor drama around. Daniela can still go F herself though. Anyway, let's do the kind of bad news first. Daniela came back with a swing we were not expecting. She is pregnant and claims to whomever would listen that Sam is the dad. Sadly for her, it is literally impossible for him to be the father since he was not even in the country when the baby would have been conceived, but she had no way of knowing that. Sam has offered repeatedly to have a paternity test done, but she refuses. Sam is safe legally. He just feels bad for her baby. Daniela's dad did sue Sam for emotional distress of two of his daughters, Daniela and the one the boyfriend left. But nothing happened since Joe dealt with it. Surprise, Joe is a lawyer. It is relevant info for this catch-up, I promise. Sam decided not to do anything against him since he has too much on his plate and feels pity for the family. Mother still insisted on meeting the baby, but that will never happen. So she undusted one of her favorite tactics, that she has cancer. She contacted Joe and Anna through their work emails and begged them to help out with meeting the baby since she is so sick and most likely would need a transplant of something and whatnot. You'll see, this is like the 5th time she has cancer, but in reality she has had cancer a total of 0 times. She just loves the attention, the suffering, the drama, and all that good stuff bad people like to bring out of others. We never believed her, of course, but what we didn't expect was that she would make a fool of herself when she contacted Anna's mom on Facebook. Anna's mom is a lovely good Catholic lady, so Mother must have assumed she would be easy to manipulate. She told her about her cancer and how heartbroken she was to not meet baby. Anna's mom proceeded to ask a couple questions about the diagnosis and treatment, which made no sense as expected. Then she blocked her and posted the screenshots of her wall. It is like high school drama, only as with older folks, and it is hilarious comebacks. Baby is otherwise very happy, very healthy, and the only controversy regarding her was the question of what would Rita be called. Not by Rita, but by our mother, who claimed Rita had no right to be called Grandma. Joe and Anna talked with Rita, and they all agreed for all intents and purposes that she is Grandma Rita and Mother can do nothing about it. Sam is doing well. He quit his job and started something on his own. He's still living at the family home, renting the other house, and kinda seeing someone. She is nice, knows about all the stuff, makes amazing cakes, knows how to knit. We like her, so we are both positive and cautious. They are taking it slow, but it's nice to see him with someone like this. He also kept on painting rooms with Dad, and the results are, please remember I love these two. Embarrassingly funny, ridiculous, and like something you do in kindergarten. Dad got COVID first time, and he got so scared he decided to update his will. That's why Joe's profession is important. They wanted Sam and I to know about it when they finished it up. Everything he owns is divided in four, his kids and the other quarter to any grandchildren. However, the family house is not to be divided and is going to be put on my name soonish. I was a bit confused, but Joe and Dad discussed it and wanted me to have it, if and only if Sam agreed. He did and is very happy about it. They didn't really offer many explanations other than it was the right thing to do. I sense a little because I am the baby there, but is okay. Joe bought a house in the same neighborhood as our family home, thus even if they are not in the same block or anything, they are close by. Matt and I are not buying anything anymore since I will be getting the house, and would make no sense. We moved to the family home, and it has been interesting but nice. Dad has started semi-retirement and spending more days at Rita's, so it works for everybody. Sam will of course get to stay there as long as he wants, but his murals would have to go LOL. We are still engaged, still happy, still enjoying babysitting, and still not pregnant but got a cat during the spring. We are planning a December wedding and couldn't ask for a better end of the year. So that's it. No drama, or at least not huge drama. We are moving forward and healing continuously, which is the way we like it. Transplant of something killed me. So what kind of cancer you have? Of the body. Of the soul too. I may use cancer of the soul for horrible people now LOL. Didn't Daniela already try the pregnancy angle and had it publicly blown up in her face? Who the heck would believe her this time? Because she actually is pregnant, which means it's easier to sell the lie. Who wants to bet she had slept with some poor guy just so she could go after Sam? That's what I'm saying. Even if she really is pregnant this time, who would believe that it's Sam's, given her history? I'm willing to bet my left ovary that everyone is simply smiling to her face and bracing for the inevitable chaos once the baby comes. Homegirl has become the laughingstock of every single social circle she's a part of. And for what? A baby she'll probably dump on her parents or give up for adoption once it becomes clear that it won't bring back the man she drove off. Honestly. I wish my family was this close. What an awesome family to be from. I love this family so much. Such great sense of humor. This is lovely. Thank you. Hey there, it's your boy Foxy, back for more relationship stories. This is part 2 and last 2 updates of the post where OP caught her mom and her husband in their marital bed, which unraveled more than 20 years of deception and ruined their families. If you haven't watched the first part yet, click the card above or the link in the description for the first part. Now to pick up with the story. For the 4th update. Update recaps, my ex accused me of also being unfaithful because he was, and wants a DNA test when our son is born. My aunt exposed multiple affairs in my egg donor's side of the family, and tried to claim it's genetic and hereditary. My dad and I's lawyers encouraged us to meet with my egg donor for evidence, and for closure, and this update deals with the answers we were given about her choices when we did meet. I met with my egg donor, dad, and our lawyers last evening. Essentially, my egg donor said she knew it was wrong but enjoyed the attention. The act itself was great, and she enjoyed the thrill of it. She kept sleeping with my dad because she enjoyed their financial stability and carefree life and wanted to stay married. She purposely slept with him after each encounter with my ex to ensure that if she got pregnant, she could pass the child off. She also admitted to enjoying the knowledge that my ex enjoyed doing it with her more than me. She then said that she is moving in with my ex to his new place and that she invited the boys to live with them. The twins have visited once since the affair went public and told her they don't like my ex and refuse to treat him like he's their father. She said eventually they'll come around once she's married to my ex and then she'll have her family back. I laughed out loud and told her she was delusional and needed psychiatric help. Then I told her I would be taking out an order of protection against her so she would have no access to my minor children. She called me a jealous and an ungrateful cow for not appreciating that she didn't terminate me and let me live. She said I should be happy that they didn't kick me out when I came home knocked up. She even had the nerve to say I should be thankful she kept my husband happy when I couldn't, so he didn't divorce me and leave me a broken and damaged good single mother. She then told my dad she suffered from postpartum depression after my birth, and my dad ignored it in her and made her feel alone, so she felt justified in hating me and to have affairs. She admitted to having multiple affairs from 6 months after I was born until New Year's Eve, and said she would still be doing it if I had not ruined everything. So, my 38 female and 34 female sisters may not be my dad's either. My dad is even more heartbroken and angry, but we did have both our lawyers present and we got it on record. My dad has already reached out to my siblings, but to nobody's surprise. I guess my 38 female sister already knew it was a possibility because my mom told her about both affairs when the twins were born, and she knew they might not be my dad's and kept it from us. My dad is devastated by that even more than losing his relationship with my mom. I'm not sure their relationship will ever recover. I genuinely have no clue what is wrong with my 38 female sister. My 34 female sister doesn't want a paternity test and said our dad will always be her dad. My dad is fine with that. Then I sent a message to my ex through my lawyer that I will be filing an order of protection tomorrow so that my kids won't have to go to my ex's house if my mother is there. Neither one has even attempted to find new housing either, so I guess she's planning to move into my ex-in-law's house. I really don't want my kids around that mess. He has yet to respond, but at this point I really don't care what he wants. P.S. My family knows about the social media posts, as do the lawyers, but my ex and egg donor have zero chance of a good outcome in the divorce, so I'm going to be petty and enjoy their anger about being exposed, so I'm leaving it up. They can stew in their filth and know that not only does our town think they're terrible, so does the whole world. And I have permission from my younger sister to share what happened last night, and I don't really care what my 38 female sister thinks. Now for more comments before reading the final update. This story just keeps getting worse with each update. The mother and the ex-husband are just plain nasty. The sister is a dum-dum. If mom ends up living with sis, how much you wanna bet she'll try her luck with sister's husband? I bet this sister is also a cheater as well, or just used to hearing about the mother and aunt cheating, that's it's normalized for her. People like the sister are far more common than I once thought. Usually when someone keeps up a long-term affair, one of the children knows about it and often comes to accept it if they don't snitch right away. 38 female was probably privy to some stuff as a kid. There was a story a few weeks back about a girl who kept her mom's cheating a secret, and then when her dad found out, he banished her along with his wife. That and the fear of destroying the family. I personally think it is borderline abusive to confide crap like this to a child. Okay, 17-year-old, but as you are forcing them to pick a side. And too often there are huge guilt trips laid on the kid to keep quiet. And now for the final update. Hello, thank you to everyone who has sent me chats and messages supporting me and asking how I'm doing. I do have an update. 1. I gave birth to my son in the beginning of April. He is healthy and I had no health complications. 2. At the end of March, I was able to get temporary full physical and legal custody of my kids. 3. My 14-year-old daughter asked me if I'd be willing to do family therapy with her and her dad. I did not want to do it. I fought it, but eventually I chose to do so for the sake of my daughter and her need to process everything and hopefully move on. 4. I learned a lot more about the relationship between my ex and my egg donor due to homework the therapist gave us. My ex did reveal more things which I believe to be true. A. My mom had actually tried to seduce him well before we were of age. From my ex's recollection, when my egg donor took over the youth group, I was 15 and he was a few months from turning 15. The group began then. She'd counsel him privately because he needed it. They kissed at some point when he was still 14, and that was all they did, meaning they'd make out during these sessions until he turned 18. It was right around the time of the first kiss that my mom convinced him to ask me out and date me so they could keep seeing each other without suspicion. At this revelation, I was both devastated. My entire relationship was built on a lie and my husband never loved me, and also a sense of relief knowing that I had absolutely nothing to do with their affair. The reason I believe this is true is that when he asked me out, I had to get permission from my parents to date. At the time the rule was, no one could date before age 16. My mom went to bat for me, or so I thought. We started dating right after he turned 15. The timeline adds up. Edited, my dad is currently looking into potential other cases of abuse and manipulation right now with the help of the church officials. Nothing has turned up, and truthfully, while I hate my egg donor, I find it hard to believe she would have the stamina to carry on multiple affairs with other boys. I think she seduced him knowing I liked him and wanted to feel superiority over me. Looking back, all of this makes sense. Her treatment of me and my children in relationship to her other grandkids. I think all of this was a seriously messed up case of her being narcissistic and punishing me for ruining her life. B. They did not have full consummation until he turned 18, and I guess that was his birthday present from her. C. My 22 female and 20 male children are still not speaking to him, which he has come to grips with and understands that they will likely never re-establish contact with him. D. The twins and I have reconciled fully. Now for the egg donor. After the last phone call with my aunt, I cut off contact with her and my grandmother. I was tired of my aunt trying to guilt trip me into talking to my egg donor. My grandma is a whole other problem and is beginning to show signs of dementia and senility. She is still harassing my egg donor and calling her a woman of Babylon, which I'm okay with, but the other stuff she's doing and saying is not something I want to add to my life of stress. My 34 female and 42 female sister were the ones who helped me with labor and delivery plan. My ex knew what the plans were, but also that I did not want him at the hospital until I had already given birth and was in a better place for him to meet his son. He agreed to this. The day I went into labor, my 34 female sister took my 14 female and 5 female children to her home, while my 42 female sister was with me in the room. Apparently, my 14 female child needed something from the school and reached out to my ex to pick it up, as he was still on the official pickup list though he no longer is, and drop it off at my sister's house. My egg donor was with him when he took the call. He refused to let her come along, as I did not want my children around my egg donor. She apparently followed him in her car to the store and then my sister's house, and threw a temper tantrum on the front lawn of my sister's house. My ex broke up with her and told her she was too much drama and it just wasn't worth it anymore. And she flew into a rage and physically attacked him, and started destroying things in my sister's yard. The cops were called and my egg donor was arrested for DV. At that point, my ex, my sister, and I all took out orders of protection against her due to the instability and the situation. My ex moved into an apartment close to the HVAC company. My 14-year-old daughter has decided not to forgive him and told him that she didn't want to be around him currently, so only the 5-year-old visits my ex. He comes to my dad's house and visits her one weeknight and one weekend evening, when I take my other kids and twin brothers out for dinner. We've established contact through a custody app, and we'll be revisiting the custody issue in June. I will be pursuing full legal and physical custody until my ex can prove to me that he's done the necessary therapy and treatment he needs. I still hate my ex with everything in my being for what he did to me, from the time I was 15 until recently, but I hate my egg donor far more for what she did to us all. I do have some sympathy for him, and I truly want him to be okay for the sake of my younger kids. Yes, he has met his newborn son. He met him the night I gave birth. I also allowed my in-laws and brothers to meet him as well. The in-laws and I are currently setting up plans for the 14 and 5-year-old to have time with them, as well as times they can come visit my newborn. My ex is allowed supervised visitation at this point, not a court-ordered visitation, but my wishes which he is adhering to as he does his therapy and rehab, and he gets regular time with the 5-year-old. He does get access to our newborn at least once a week if he comes with his parents and if he wishes. He's seen his son at least 6 times since I gave birth, and 3 in my presence. We're slowly rebuilding civilized communication. As for the other divorce proceedings, he's agreed to a mediated uncontested divorce, and I'll be getting half of everything, including the business. I'm choosing to sell my shares to one of my ex's workers who'd like to become a partner. The ex is happy with this, and I'll be happy to be completely rid of any ties to my ex. My dad was able to sell my old house. It didn't even get listed, as our realtor knew a family looking, and I have begun looking for houses about 45 minutes away from my dad. As for the egg donor, she has gone into hiding. Once the twins told her unequivocally that they'd never live with her and that they wanted nothing to do with her, especially after how she got arrested, she began a whole lot of guilt tripping and blaming them. She is now contesting the divorce from my dad and only speaking to him through her lawyer. As for my 38 female sister, she got a wake-up call from this whole thing when my mother called her and berated her for 45 minutes for not bailing her out of jail. Apparently, my 38 female sister has been going through fertility issues. Like I said, I don't talk to her and had no idea. And she's been stressed out and anxious and feeling bad about herself, which is why she let our egg donor manipulate her, because she felt good about herself when she was getting all the positive attention. When she wasn't willing to pay the money to bail her out, as she and her partner were saving up for another cycle of IVF, she realized that she was being manipulated and reached out to me. We have begun slowly talking again, but she is on my side regarding this all. She is also talking to my dad again, which for his sake, I'm happy that he is able to reconnect with her. Having my son, and by the way, we did the DNA test a few weeks before his birth, and he is definitely my ex's, has been a pleasure and joy. And he and my other kids and my support system of my dad and siblings has gotten me through this, and will continue to do so. I am hopeful that at some point I will be able to deal with my ex without anger and bitterness, seeing as he has trauma from what my egg donor did to him. I'll be okay. Like I said, this will be my last update on this, so thank you for all the kindness, love, and support. OP sounds like she's showing a lot of grace during an absolutely horrific situation. I'm glad she's got supportive family and friends around her. Well said. The mental gymnastics it took for me to understand this was enough. I can't imagine actually living it. Agreed. I'd like to think that, were I in OP's position, the discovery that her egg donor grew and used the boyfriend, now ex-husband, from a young age would help me to show that grace, since clearly the ex is a victim as well. Wishing OP, her children, and her father the best, moving forward from this nightmare. It does seem like OP tries really hard to keep that in her mind, and I can't imagine how difficult that must be. She must want to be full on rage mode, but instead has to temper that with knowing her ex is also a victim of this ordeal. So sad all around. Besides, for egg donor, screw her. Damn, this is something even Jerry Springer couldn't come up with, even if he tried. I remember reading the first post and thinking this is too crazy to be true. But people are weird, but your own mother literally screwing you over like this. Insane, disgusting, and an oddly good read, lol. All the best for OP, hope she is able to come over these levels of betrayal. One of my aunts tried to her daughter's husband. When she didn't succeed, she accused him of cheating on her daughter. They were separated for many years, and they had a fling resulting in pregnancy during the separation, and now they, my cousin and husband, they are together and raising the already teenage kid born because of the fling. I may have been wrong, because that happened during the last 25 years, and I was too young to be given the details, but anyway, I could listen. Damn, also a wild story. Can't understand mothers like that though. Neither do I. I remember hearing her say that, you must forgive everything from your mother, because she is your mother. My mom stopped her right away, because she knew what was behind it.